When you hear the phrase cloud-based brokerage, you probably first think of eXp Realty, and rightfully so. They really popularized this model and are the largest cloud-based brokerage so far. But there is a new cloud-based brokerage that's building a lot of momentum, gaining a lot of attention, and really giving eXp a run for their money, and that is Real Broker. So today we're going to do an in-depth side-by-side comparison of these two cloud-based brokerages to help you decide which one is a better fit for you. So today we're going to be comparing their caps and splits, their fees, their revenue share program, their stock programs, their agent award programs, their technology, and their culture. And at the end of the video, I'm gonna give you guys my honest opinion of which brokerage I think would be the best fit for you, really depending on where you're at in your real estate career and really what your goals with your career are. Now, full disclosure, I am a real estate agent with Real Broker, but I'm gonna try to be as unbiased as I can in this comparison, cite as many of my sources as I can, and I'll be perfectly honest, there absolutely are categories of agents that I simply think would be a better fit over at eXp Realty. I'm gonna explain to you why that is and what those categories of agents are. So let's jump right in and start with their caps and splits. So eXp Realty has a $16,000 a year cap with an 80-20 split. Real Broker has a $12,000 a year cap with an 85-15 split. So Real Broker does have a slightly more generous split, and they are $4,000 a year cheaper than eXp based on their caps. But obviously we still need to factor in all the fees that both companies charge, the agent awards and the stock program and even revenue share program to get a much more complete picture of how much it's going to cost you every year to be an agent in both these companies. So let's just move forward right into the fees that each company charges. So eXp Realty charges a $149 sign-up fee. They have an $85 a month technology fee. They have a $25 transaction review fee per transaction. They have a risk management fee of $40 per transaction, which caps at $500. And they have a $250 transaction fee per transaction. After you hit their icon agent, that $250 goes down to $75 per transaction. Over at Real Broker, they also have a $149 sign-up fee. They have a $500 annual fee, which gets taken out of your first two transactions of the year, so $250 and $250. And then they have a $225 transaction fee, which gets reduced to a $100 transaction fee after you hit Elite Agent. So the big differences between these two fee structures overall is that Real Broker does not charge any monthly fees, but they do have a $500 annual fee, which gets taken out of your first two transactions of the year. And I kind of like that model better, especially if you're a newer agent or not doing that many transactions, because you don't actually have to pay that fee until you have money coming in. And I'd also say that I think that Real Broker's fee structure seems much more simplified than eXp Realty's does. So let's run a quick scenario here just to give you kind of a better idea of how all these fees add up and how much you can expect to pay each company in order to be a real estate agent there. So let's say that you are doing 20 deals a year and your average price point is $400,000 and your average commission, let's say, is 3%. So that means that you're doing $8 million in volume a year. And let's just run the fees on both these companies and really see how much you'd be paying at both Real versus eXp. All right, so at eXp, you'd be paying $85 a month for 12 months, which is $1,020 a year. You would also pay a $25 transaction review fee on 20 transactions. So that would also be another $500 a year. You'd pay a $40 risk management fee per transaction, and this caps at $500, so that's another $500 a year. Now you're not paying the $250 transaction fee until after you cap. So in this scenario, you'd cap after 7 transactions. So you would then pay that $250 transaction fee per transaction on the remaining 13 transactions, which adds up to $3,250 a year. So you add all that up together, that means it would cost you $5,270 a year in fees on top of your $16,000 a year cap. And when you combine those together, then that means it's going to cost you $21,270 a year to sell 20 homes a year at eXp. So now let's compare that fee structure to a Real Broker using the exact same scenario. So a Real Broker, you're going to pay a $500 annual fee on your first 2 transactions. You're going to cap after 5 transactions, and you'd pay the $225 transaction fee on the remaining 15 transactions of the year. And that adds up to $3,375 a year in transaction fees. So if you add that all together, that means that you're going to pay $3,875 in fees on top of your $12,000 a year cap at Real. So your total cost is going to be $15,875 to sell 20 homes a year at Real Broker. So if you're selling about 20 homes a year, then you'd save a little over $5,000 a year at Real Broker compared to eXp Realty. But let's say you're selling a little bit more than that and you're in the low 30s, let's say. Well, then you're going to qualify for the Icon Agent or the Elite Agent Award, which is free stock in the company. So let's take a look at their two programs. So eXp Realty has their Icon Agent Award, where they give their agents up to $16,000 a year in free stock in the company for hitting certain milestones in their businesses. Now that $16,000 is actually broken down into 3 separate awards with specific requirements for each of those. The first one is going to be the Production Award, which is $8,000. The second one is going to be their Cultural Award, which is up to $4,000. And the third one is going to be their Event Attendance Award, which is $2,000. So if you hit all 3 of those awards, then it's up to $16,000 in free stock that you can earn. So let's break these down individually and start with the Production Award, which is $8,000 a year. There's actually 3 ways to qualify for this Production Award. First way is by paying your $16,000 a year cap and then paying $5,000 a year in post-cap transaction fees. So at $250 a transaction fee, that means you need to close an additional 20 homes after you cap in order to qualify for the Production Award of $8,000. The second way that you can qualify for it is by paying your $16,000 cap and then receiving over $500,000 in GCI with at least 10 closed transactions and paying the Icon qualifying fee. Now, I couldn't find any specific requirements of how much this Icon qualifying fee actually is, but on their website I did find one document where it gave an example of this fee being $1,400. Now, the third way to qualify for the Production Award is if you have a team and you pay the $16,000 a year cap, and then your team combined pays over $40,000 in company dollars. Now, those are the 3 ways to qualify for the $8,000 a year Production Award. After you qualify for the Production Award, you're then eligible for the Cultural Award, which is up to $4,000 in free stock. And on their website, they say about this award: cultural commitment, an opportunity for active icons to earn stock by giving back to the company culture through time, talent, and knowledge in eXp approved route. So my understanding is that they have a point system for this in order to qualify for this award. And if you're providing training and you're active in the community and you're kind of involved in that community, you'll earn points and then you'll be eligible for this $4,000 a year cultural award. Now, if you hit the production requirements and you're an Icon agent, you're then also eligible for their Event Attendance Award as well. And on their website, they say Icon agents have the opportunity to earn a stock award of up to an additional $4,000 worth of EXPI common stock in the month following attendance of an EXP approved event. A stock award of $2,000 worth of EXPI common stock will be issued for each event attended. So if you hit the production awards and you hit the cultural commitment requirements and you attend specific events, then all combined, eXp will award you up to $16,000 worth of free stock in their company. So Real Broker also has an award program for its agents that they call their Elite Agent Award. And so Real Broker will give you up to $24,000 in free stock for hitting their Elite Agent Award. And that's broken up into 2 different categories. You have a $16,000 a year production award, and then you have an $8,000 a year cultural award. 2 ways to qualify for the $16,000 a year production award. First is that you cap, and then you pay $6,000 in post-cap transaction fees. And with the transaction fee being $225, that means you need to close an additional 27 houses after you cap. The second way to qualify for it is by capping and then earning $500,000 in GCI with at least 10 closed transactions. So if you hit either one of those 2 milestones, you'll then be an elite agent and receive $16,000 in free Real Broker stock. And you're then eligible for the cultural award on top of that of $8,000. And in order to earn this award, they say that you can either teach monthly topics at Real Academy, give back to Real Agent community, or give back to your local community. So those are the facts about the 2 different agent award programs, but let me give you my opinion on them. I will say that I think that Real Broker's award program is just much simpler than eXp's award program. just like how Real Broker's fee structure was also simpler. They really just kind of simplified things. And obviously, Real Broker's $16,000 a year production award is much higher than eXp's $8,000 a year production award. So now let's run another scenario where we factor in not just the fees and the caps, but also the Elite Agent, the Icon Agent Award. And let's say in this scenario, you close 35 homes a year at an average price point $400,000 times 3% commission. So at eXp, it's going to cost you $23,995 in fees and caps to sell 35 homes a year. But if you hit those milestones, you're then going to qualify for their Icon Agent Award. And let's say you qualify for the Production Award, the Culture Award, and the Attendance Award. So you're going to earn $16,000 in free stock. Plus, eXp gives you $200 in stock for your first transaction of the year and $400 in stock for capping. So when you deduct the free stock from the cost of doing business of the fees and the caps, it means that at eXp, you're only paying $7,395 a year to sell 35 homes a year at eXp. So now let's take a look at Real Broker and see how much it would cost you to sell 35 homes there when you factor in the Elite Agent Award. So when you add up all the fees and the caps, it means it would cost you $18,143 a year to sell 35 homes a year at Real Broker. Now, when we add in the $24,000 a year that you'd receive for hitting Elite Agent, plus you'd get 750 shares of stocks when you cap. Now, as of today, 750 shares is worth about $1,400. It means that effectively it would cost you $0 at Real Broker to sell 35 homes a year. And in fact, you would actually be up. You would make $7,257 a year to sell 35 homes here. So let that sink in there for a second. So at Real Broker, if you sell 35 homes a year, when you factor in all the free stock that you earn, it's effectively going to cost you $0, and you're actually going to be up over $7,000 a year. That is virtually unheard of in this industry. So at Real Broker, you're going to be a little over $7,000 a year in the positive. At eXp, it's going to cost you a little over $7,000 a year. So that means if you sell 35 homes a year, at Real Broker, you're going to effectively save $14,652 a year. And that's pretty significant. That is one large commission or maybe two small commissions right there. So that's 1 to 2 fewer transactions a year that you need to sell at Real Broker and still make the same amount of money that you would at eXp. Now, the Elite Agent and the Icon Agent is just one way that both companies give their agents free stock in the company. Let's dive a little deeper into the two stock programs and see how they compare side by side. So eXp and Real Broker are both publicly traded companies, and both stocks are traded on the NASDAQ. So Real Broker is currently trading at about $1.88 a share, and that's down from its all-time high of about $3.70 a share. eXp is currently trading at $12.60 a share, and that's down from its all-time high of $77.89. Now, eXp actually has 5 different ways that it gives free stocks to its agents. Number 1 is that the first transaction of your year, eXp will give you $200 in free stock in the company. Number 2 is when you cap, eXp will give you $400 in free stock. Number 3 is when you attract an agent to the company, when that agent closes their first transaction, eXp will give you $400 in free stock. Number 4 is the Icon Award of up to $16,000 worth of free stock in the company. And number 5, if you buy stock directly out of your commission, eXp will give you a 10% free bonus on top of that stock. Now, Real Broker has 4 different ways that it gives its agents free stock. The first way is by capping, and currently they give you 750 shares of free stock in the company. Now, right now, the stock's $1.88 a share, so right now it's about $1,410 worth of free stock when you cap. Number 2 is when you attract an agent to the company. When that new agent closes their first transaction, Real will give you 250 shares of free stock, which is currently worth about $470. Number 3 is their Elite Agent Award, where they give you up to $24,000 in free stock. And number 4 is their stock purchase program, where if you buy stock directly out of your commission, they'll give you a 15% bonus before you cap. After you cap, that bonus goes up to 30% free stock in the company. So those are the facts. Now let me give you my opinion. So eXp does have one additional way that it gives its agents free stock, and that's the $200 worth of free stock after you close your first transaction of the year. And I just say that $200 really doesn't move the needle all that much. That's really not that impactful. Now, Real Broker, they do give you pretty significantly more free stock when you cap compared to eXp. The source that I found said that eXp gives you $400 worth of free stock, where at the current stock price, Real Broker is giving you over $1,400 in free stock when you cap, which is pretty significant, I think. And at Real Broker, it's easier to cap than it is at eXp. Now, if you're gonna qualify for the Elite Agent, the Icon Agent, at eXp, you'll get up to $16,000 in free stock. At Real, you get up to $24,000 in free stock. So that's a pretty significant difference as well. Also, if you want to buy stock directly out of your commission, which is something that I do and a lot of agents do, Real's right now giving you 3 times as much free stock than eXp's. That's because they give you up to 30% free stock versus eXp's 10% free stock. That's pretty significant as well in my book. So I do have to say that I think that Real Broker is much more generous with their free stock than eXp is. Now, there is one caveat to this that I do want to point out and make clear, and that's some of these numbers for Real are changing as we grow bigger and bigger. When I first joined, we were at 2,000 agents, and they were actually giving us 25% free stock before you cap and 50% free stock after you cap. But they already have kind of it planned out. But as the company grows and as the value of the stock grows, I would expect to see some of these numbers shrink over the years. Another thing I want to say is that a lot of people will make wild speculations of where they think that both of these stocks will go in the future. I don't really want to make any kind of speculation on price of either one of these stocks, but I will say that I do think that cloud brokerages are the future of the industry. And with that, I think that both of these stocks are going to do pretty well over the next 5 to 10 years. So next, let's compare their revenue share programs. So both companies reward their agents for helping grow the company through revenue share. Now, this model is actually originally established by Keller Williams with their profit share model, but I think that both companies have made significant improvements on that model. And both of them are very, very similar, but there is one pretty important distinction that's a little less quantifiable that I'm going to touch on at the end of this section. So at eXp Realty, if you are responsible for an agent joining the company and they put your name down as a sponsor, eXp will give you up to $2,800 a year for that agent if they cap every year. Now, that agent will be considered in your tier 1. Any agent that they bring into the company will be considered in your tier 2. And this will continue all the way down 7 tiers at eXp. Now, in order to unlock the benefits of all 7 of your tiers, you need to have a certain number of qualifying agents in your tier 1. For example, you need to have 5 qualifying agents in your tier 1 to unlock your benefits of tier 2. And total, you need to have 40 qualifying agents in your tier 1 to unlock all 7 tiers of revenue share at eXp. Now, Real Broker has a very similar revenue share model, but there are a couple of key differences. At Real Broker, they pay you the most for your tier 1 agents of $4,000, whereas at eXp, they pay you the most of 4,000 agents on your last tier, your 7th tier. And at Real Broker, they offer a revenue share on 5 tiers versus eXp's 7 tiers. And like eXp, you need to have a certain number of qualifying agents in your tier 1 in order to unlock the benefits of all 5 of your revenue share tiers. You need a total of 25 agents in your tier 1 to unlock your full revenue share potential. Now, I'm going to run through a couple different scenarios of showing how much money you can actually make at both companies depending on how many agents you attract. I'm going to show some scenarios where you make more money at Real and some scenarios where you make more money at eXp. But before I do that, I really want to touch on a very important distinction between these 2 revenue share programs, and that's really going to be the culture around agent attraction. So at Real Broker, they really want to protect their reputation and their image and just not be known as a recruiting company. So because of that, there is a lot of rules and restrictions around what you can and cannot do in order to recruit an agent to your downline. So for example, at Real Broker, you can't run paid ads to recruit people to your downline. You also can't cold call real estate agents. And I say one of the most important distinctions is that you can't promise anything of value to have somebody put your name down as their sponsor. So I can't offer you free training or a free online course or coaching or private mastermind or a free vacation free technology. I can't offer you anything for you to put my name down as the sponsor. And I think this is a pretty important distinction compared to eXp. At eXp, you have a lot of agents offering a lot of training in order for somebody to put their name down. And what you get is these silos of training at eXp. So somebody may have great training on YouTube, but the only way you get that is if you put them down as your sponsor. And if you don't put them down as your sponsor, then that training is locked off from you. You're not allowed, they don't give you that training. And there's some benefits to that model, right? Especially if you're a newer agent, maybe you want a little bit more hand-holding, you want a little bit more training. But real brokers try to go in a different direction where all the training is opened up to all the agents. We have top agents from around the country providing really high-level training, and everybody has access to it. Versus at eXp, they do have a community pot of training, but a lot of people offer specific training only to people who put them down as their sponsor. And so this is, I think, a big and important distinction between the two companies and really the culture around recruiting and the rules and regulations around that as well. So those are the facts, and let me give you my opinion on the two revenue share programs. One, I'd say that I think that Real Brokers is much more simple and easy to understand. They pay the most at the top at $4,000 and they pay the least at the bottom at $800. eXp's is a little bit more confusing how they, start at in the middle and then they go down 800 and then back up to $4,000. And it's just kind of confusing that way. So I do like how simple Real Brokers model is. One benefit to eXp's is that you only need 5 agents in order to unlock your second tier benefits versus Real, you need 10 agents to unlock your second tier benefits. And Real Broker does pay you a good bit more on your tier 1 than eXp does on their tier 1. And I like that because that's really the only tier that you have control over. I can influence my direct actions and recruit people or attract people to the company. When you get down 4, 5, 6, 7 tiers, you don't really have much influence on those tiers. You may have a little bit, but not really a whole lot. So I like that the tier that I actually have control over, tier 1, you get paid more at Real than you do at eXp. Now it is true that eXp pays out on 7 tiers versus Real Brokers 5 tiers. But I just want to point out that all 5 of those tiers, Real either pays the same as eXp, or in most cases it pays more than eXp on all 5 of those tiers. And really what that means is that Real Broker's revenue share model is going to be more profitable for the average agent who has an average or small downline. eXp's revenue share model is going to be more profitable for the mega agents that have 500, 1,000 people in their downline because of that 7th tier. But the average agent who has 10, 15, 20, 100 people in their downline, Real Broker's revenue share model is going to be much more profitable for them. So let's run a couple of scenarios and I'll show you guys how much money you can actually expect to make from revenue share with the two companies. So scenario 1, let's say you bring on 3 capping agents. This is actually pretty good. And at Real Broker, you're going to get $4,000 a year, which is a total of $12,000 a year in revenue share. Now, the Real Broker's cap is only $12,000 a year, so this is actually a big goal of a lot of agents, and effectively your cap is completely paid for with revenue share. Now at eXp, you receive $2,800 a year for having 3 agents in your tier 1, so that's a total of $8,400 in revenue share a year, which is about half your cap. So if you want to earn enough revenue share to completely cover your cap at eXp, you really need twice that. You need about 6 agents in your tier 1, and that would fully cover your cap at eXp. So let's look at scenario number 2, and let's say you get a little bit more aggressive with revenue share and you have 10 capping agents in your tier 1 at both companies, but none of those agents have brought in anybody else. So you have 0 agents in your tier 2. So at Real Broker, you'd see $4,000 a year for each of those 10 agents. So that's $40,000 a year in revenue share. At eXp, you'd receive $2,800 a year for each of those capping agents, which would be $28,000 a year in revenue share. So clearly with 10 capping agents and nobody in your tier 2, you're gonna make more money at Real than you will at eXp. And this is actually what I think is the most likely scenario. What a lot of people don't tell you is that most agents at both companies have 0 people in their downlines, right? Most agents don't join a cloud brokerage to be a full-time recruiter. They join because of the low caps and fees, the culture, the technology. And so most agents that you bring in are not going to bring anybody else in. And so having 10 agents in your tier 1 and 0 in your tier 2 is a very, very common scenario. And again, this is why I like Real's revenue share model, where it's weighted towards the top and you earn the most money for your tier 1. So scenario number 3, let's say that you have 15 agents in your tier 1. And so this means that you'd unlock your tier 3 benefits at Real, but you'd unlock your tier 4 benefits at eXp. And let's be generous, and let's say that each of these 15 agents, on average, each bring in 1 agent. So you have 15 agents in tier 1, 15 in tier 2, 15 in tier 3, and at eXp you have 15 in tier 4. Let's run those numbers and see which company you would make more money in revenue share at. So at Real Broker, you'd get $60,000 a year for your tier 1, $48,000 a year for your tier 2, and $36,000 a year for your tier 3. So all combined, at Real Broker, you receive $144,000 a year in revenue share if you have 15 agents in your tier 1, 2, and 3. Now at eXp, you'd receive $42,000 a year for your tier 1, $48,000 a year for your tier 2, $30,000 a year for your tier 3, and $18,000 a year for your tier 4. So at eXp, you'd receive $138,000 a year in revenue share for having 15 agents in your tier 1, 2, 3, and 4. So in this scenario, even though you're receiving revenue share on an additional tier at eXp, you're still making more money in revenue share at Real Broker than you are at eXp. And in this scenario, you're actually being generous because you have a 60 agent downline at eXp versus a 45 agent downline at Real Broker. And I think this kind of demonstrates that point that I was making earlier, that at eXp, sure, you have additional tiers you can unlock, and it's slightly easier to unlock those. But at Real Broker, you simply get paid more for most of those tiers. So let's get really generous here, and let's say you have 25 agents in your tier 1. So it's gonna be enough to unlock all 5 tiers of benefits at Real Broker, and it's gonna unlock all 6 tiers of benefits at eXp. And again, let's say on average, each agent brings in just 1 agent. So you have 25 agents going all the way down. So that's a total network of 125 agents at Real versus a total network of 150 agents at eXp. And let's see what those numbers look like. So at Real Broker, you'd receive $100,000 on your tier 1, $80,000 on your tier 2, $60,000 on your tier 3, $40,000 on your tier 4, $20,000 on your tier 5 for a total of $300,000. At eXp, you receive $70,000 in your tier 1, $80,000 in your tier 2, $50,000 in your tier 3, $30,000 in your tier 4, $20,000 in your tier 5, and $50,000 on your tier 6 for a total of $300,000. So if you had 25 agents going all the way down at all 6 tiers, you'd make the exact same amount of money at Real than you would at eXp with their revenue share program. But I do want to point out, it's actually a little generous to eXp because in this scenario, you're factoring 150 agents in your total network versus 125 agents in your total network at Real. But as you can see, the outcome is about the same. Now, I do want to point out, if you are a brand new agent to both companies, for you to build out a network that big, it may take you 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 years in order to get a network of 150, 125 agents. And in that time period, let's say you're really aggressive, it takes you 5 years to build that, you would have made more money at Real Broker during that time period than you would at eXp. But let's run one more scenario and let's unlock all 7 tiers of revenue share at eXp. So let's see what these numbers look like when you factor in 40 agents going all the way down. All right, so at Real Broker, you receive $160,000 a year for your tier 1, $128,000 a year for your tier 2, $96,000 a year for your tier 3, $64,000 for your tier 4, $32,000 for your tier 5. Now at eXp, you would unlock your tier 6 and your tier 7 benefits. So you'd receive $112,000 a year for your tier 1, $128,000 a year for your tier 2, $80,000 for your tier 3, $48,000 for your tier 4, $32,000 for your tier 5, $80,000 for your tier 6, and $160,000 for your tier 7. And you can see how at eXp's your tier 7 is the exact same amount as Real Broker's tier 1, $160,000. So at Real Broker, you'd earn a total of $480,000. At eXp, you'd earn a total of $640,000. So in this scenario, once you unlock your tier 7 benefits and you actually have producing agents in your tier 7, you would make more money at eXp than you would at Real Broker. Now, I ran a lot of different scenarios with these numbers. I ran scenarios where I made kind of a pyramid where you have a lot of agents up top and only a few agents down below. I ran inverse pyramids where you have just a few agents up top and the numbers grow as you go down. And in almost all these scenarios, you make more money at Real until you unlock the 7th tier at eXp and you actually have a significant number of agents in your 7th tier. Because it's not just enough for you to unlock your 7th tier, you have to have a significant number of agents in your 7th tier. And I think this demonstrates the point that I made earlier that Real Broker has structured their revenue share program for the average agent. If you're a producing agent, focus on your business and you're only putting 10, 20% of your time into revenue share, and you have a network of 50, 100, 150 agents, most likely you're gonna make more money in revenue share at Real than you will at eXp. But at eXp, if you wanna be a full-time recruiter, this is all you wanna do, this is all you're gonna focus on is just revenue share, you theoretically on paper could make more money if you unlock that 7th tier and start receiving revenue share on that 7th tier. So now let's take a look at the technology that both companies offer. I mean, after all, technology is pretty important to all of our businesses these days. So eXp, they use Workplace, which was created by Facebook, and it's sort of, it's just like Facebook, but only people in your organization can use it. And it's really how eXp agents communicate with each other and connect with each other and collaborate, provide training. They use SkySlope, which is what they use in order to put their contracts together and then have their broker review their contracts. They use KV Core, which is a CRM and a website. They have eXp Enterprise, which just sort of gives them a snapshot of their year and kind of shows them all the stats around their business. And they have eXp World, which is sort of a virtual world where you have a 3D avatar and character and you kind of walk them around this virtual campus. And those are kind of the core software programs and benefits that eXp has. So Real Broker, they use some of the exact same software. So Real Broker also has Workplace, which is how all the agents collaborate and communicate and connect with each other. They also use SkySlope to put the contracts together and have your agents submit them for compliance. They have Bolt, which is similar to eXp's Enterprise and gives you a snapshot of your business, shows you how many transactions you've closed, how much revenue share, how much free stock that you've earned. And they use Chime for their website and CRM. Now, eXp charges you an $85 a month technology fee, so you're essentially mandating that you pay for KV Core. Real has actually made Chime optional, so it's usually $500 a month. Real has negotiated it down to $25 a month for Real agents. So if you want to use Chime, it's only $25 a month. If you don't, then you don't have to. And then Real Broker has an excellent agent app as well, which gives you a complete snapshot of your business and any transactions that you currently have under contract. So let me give you my opinion on the different software. So the only technology that eXp has of any significance that Real doesn't is the eXp World. And I've talked to a lot of agents that are currently at eXp or in the past and asked their opinions on them. And really what I've heard is that my anecdotal experience is that the more experienced agents who are closing a lot of transactions a year, they say that they don't really like it and they never really log into it, right? They don't use it unless they have to. The newer agents, though, that I've talked to tell me that they love it, that they love having a little campus that they can walk around and kind of communicate and talk to people. So that's just my own anecdotal experience that newer agents really seem to like it. More experienced agents that are pretty busy don't really like it all that much. I feel like eXp really pushes their eXp World and they really kind of force their agents to use it. So for a lot of the training, you need to log into the eXp World and walk your character to a certain place. If you want support, you need to log into eXp World and walk your character to a certain support desk. So they really kind of force their agents to use it. And I think that they really have it largely so that they can claim that they have proprietary software that nobody else has. Personally, anecdotally, I don't think I would use that very often at all. I'm much too busy, and I'm not a very patient person. So I think I would get very frustrated with that software. Now on the flip side, Real Broker also has a piece of software that eXp does not, and that's the Real Broker app. Now, it may just seem like a simple app, but I gotta tell you, this app has dramatically changed my business. You talk to any coach and he says that you have to know your numbers. Well, all your numbers are literally right here on your phone. How much GCI you've made this year, how many transactions you closed this year versus last year, what you have under contract, how much revenue share you're gonna earn or your next check, how many people in your downline, how much stock you have, how much free stock that you have, everything. And what I really love is that it shows you every transaction you have under contract, the co-op agent contact information, the title company's contact information, how much commission you're going to get, how much commission is going to you towards versus towards the company for your cap. Shows you everything in this app, and I'm really blown away by it. And I literally log into this app every single day, and this thing has really become a pretty critical part of my real estate business. So I'm a big fan of the Real Broker app, and from talking to eXp agents, they don't have an app like that right now. All that information, you need to log into your computer and then go to your eXp Enterprise in order to access that information. Also, when you compare CRMs, eXp uses KV Core, where Real uses Chime. I like that Real has made Chime optional versus eXp having a mandatory monthly technology fee of $85 a month. So they're kind of forcing you to pay for KV Core whether you use it or not. I'm really not wild about that practice. And also, if you look up reviews of KV Core by agents that are not at eXp and don't have an affiliate link, I've never really heard anything good about KV Core. I've actually heard a lot of bad things about it. Chime, on the other hand, I hear a lot of really good things about it. I've had a pretty good experience with it as well. So I would just encourage you to try to find some unbiased reviews of KV Core and Chime by agents that are not at Real or at eXp, just to get a better understanding of those two pieces of software. Other than that, I think the tech's pretty similar. We both use SkySlope, we both use Workplace, and I'm actually really happy with both those pieces of technology. So next, let's talk about the culture of the two companies, right? This is a little bit harder to quantify, but I know that culture is really important to a lot of real estate agents. They don't want to feel just like another agent, in a big machine. So let's kind of dive a little bit deeper into the culture of the two companies, and let's check out their core values. So eXp has 9 core values. Number 1, be a good neighbor to create a sustainable legacy. Number 2 is don't take yourself too seriously. Number 3 is force chaos and change to survive and grow. Number 4 is the best way to predict the future is to invent it. Number 5 is do the right thing. Number 6 is make positive change in our company and local community. Number 7 is be a good financial steward of the environment, the organization, and our families. Number 8 is we are all on the same field. Number 9 is get things out from behind the curtain. Now, Real Broker has 4 core values, kind of continuing with that theme of simplifying the model. Their core values are pretty simple, and they are work hard, be kind, simply great service, embrace, resolve, evolve, and make a difference. So my opinion on these 2 core values is that 1, I actually love the core value, work hard, be kind. I've thought about getting that as a tattoo, actually. I really love that saying. And so I'm a big fan of Real Broker's simple core values. Some of eXp's core values kind of seem to contradict each other, and some of them are pretty aggressive, like force chaos and change to survive and grow. Right, that's pretty aggressive core value in my opinion. And it kind of seems to contradict we're all on the same field, right? That kind of makes you seem like, you're playing against your opponent, but you're all on the same field, playing the same game. You want to collaborate and help each other out. But then they're saying force chaos and try to survive. Those two kind of contradict each other. And their core value, there's several different mentions of like being loyal to the organization. Like one of them is make a positive change in our company and local community. Another one is be a good financial steward of the environment, organization, and our families. It just kind of seems like they're really kind of reiterating, the importance of the company and kind of putting the company first and the organization first. Whereas Real Broker's core values just seemed a little bit more, focus on being a helpful and positive person and kind of how we interact with our clients, like make a difference, simply great service, embrace, resolve, dissolve, work hard, be kind. So one company's core values is talking about creating chaos and trying to survive. The other one's talking about being kind. You know, it may seem like I'm kind of nitpicking words here, but I really do think that core value, work hard, be kind, that really is kind of my experience here at Real Broker of, you know, kind of demonstrates what the culture is at this company. And then eXp's core value of force chaos and change to survive, that does kind of illustrate what I perceive their culture to be like. Now, I think it's pretty safe to say that eXp's culture is very heavily focused on growing the company. And they kind of demonstrate this culture in a couple different ways. One is that they have a goal of reaching 1 million real estate agents, and they reiterate that goal to their agents often. Number two is that eXp has a lot of training on recruiting, right? A lot of their training is focused on recruiting, different ways to recruit. Number three is that leadership talks about recruiting a lot at eXp. And number four, they put their biggest recruiters up on pedestals. They say, look at this guy, how big his downline is, how much revenue share he's getting. You could be like this person as well. Like, that is the culture of the company, is growing the company. And I find it interesting that even their core values seem to illustrate that. They often talk about the company and the organization in their company's core values. So I think it's pretty safe to say that part of the culture at eXp is focused on growing the company. Now, on Real Broker, on the other hand, they wanted to move away from that culture. And I would describe the culture as focused on growing the agent, not growing the company. So Real Broker does not have any goals for agent count, right? We're not trying to hit 1 million agents or 500,000 agents or anything. We have no goals. The CEO, Tamir, has set no goals for agent count. The training that we have, the vast majority of it is focused on growing the agent, about how to build a bigger business, how to deal with clients, how to scale, how to get leverage. Only a very small amount of the training is actually focused on agent attraction. Number three, leadership almost never ever talks about recruiting and agent attraction and downlines and revenue share. You almost never ever hear those words coming out of leadership, right? Instead, they're just focused on growing the agents and giving the best experience for the agents. And number four, instead of putting people up on pedestals who have huge downlines and are big recruiters, they put people up on pedestals who are accomplishing big things, whether through their business or their team, or even through social media or video or speaking gigs. You know, those are the people that the company chooses to put up on pedestals and have teach classes to the other agents. So I think it's pretty safe to say that eXp's culture is very focused on growing the company. Real Broker's culture is very focused around the agent and growing the agent. So now let's break down what agents I think would be a better fit for eXp and what agents I think would be a better fit for Real Broker. So the first one I'm going to say is brand new agents. I think that there is an argument to be made that brand new agents may have a good experience at eXp Realty. And part of this is that if you're a brand new agent, I kind of recommend that you either sign up for coaching or you join a team. Now, eXp is sitting around 85,000 agents right now. Real Broker is sitting around 6,000 agents. So there's simply going to be more teams at eXp than there will be at Real Broker, probably in your area. So if you are looking to join a team as a brand new agent, you may have an easier time finding a team at eXp than you would at Real Broker. And let's say you're a brand new agent, but you don't really want to join a team. Well, eXp has a more established mentorship program where you can get a mentor in the company and then they receive a big portion of your commission in return for them kind of coaching and training you. Now, Real Broker does have a mentorship program, which they are just launching just recently. Right now, it's only in 14 states. I'm guessing the next 6 to 12 months is going to be rolling out to all the states. But nonetheless, eXp has a more established mentorship program. They probably have more mentors in their program than Real Broker does right now. And also, like I was saying before, eXp World, a lot of brand new agents really enjoy that software in my own experience. Now, there is a price to be paid for this. If you're a brand new agent, you're going to pay more in fees. You have monthly fees at eXp, and you have a larger cap as a brand new agent. I think that you could make an argument that eXp may be a better fit than Real Broker. So the next type of agent that I think may want to consider eXp over Real Broker is going to be somebody who wants to be a full-time recruiter. If you want to get out of production completely, you just want to be a real estate coach and a full-time recruiter, you may want to look at eXp. So first off, at Real Broker, you can't just be a full-time recruiter. In order for you to receive revenue share, you have to be a producing agent. Now, in order to be a producing agent, it's really, really easy. You just have to contribute $400 in company dollars every 6 months. So you can literally close 2 transactions or 2 referrals a year and you'd qualify to receive revenue share. But they do that because they don't want just exclusive full-time recruiters in the company. But if you want to be a full-time recruiter, you can do that at eXp. And at eXp, there's a lot less restrictions on what you can do. So if you want to cold call real estate agents and run ads and door knock, do any of these things, you can do that at eXp, but you can't at Real Broker. And on paper, theoretically, you could earn more money in revenue share if you build a huge organization. If you have a 500-person downline that you can build over the next 5-10 years, theoretically, you may make more money at eXp than you would at Real Broker once you get to that large point and once you start receiving revenue share on your 7th tier. So if you want to be a full-time recruiter, yeah, I would definitely look at eXp. Now, there's 2 categories of agents that I think would also be a better fit at Real Broker versus eXp. First category is going to be agents that are really focused on growing their business. If you want to focus on selling more homes, increasing your profit, lowering your business expenses, these types of agents should really consider Real Broker. Real Broker is $4,000 a year cheaper than eXp. And if you're selling 20 homes a year, it's going to be about $1,000 cheaper in fees. If you hit Elite Agent, it's going to be about $14,000 a year cheaper at Real than it would be at eXp. And if you're focused on growing your business, you're going to be much more in line with the culture of Real Broker. That's what the majority of our training is focused on, majority of our community is really focused on, is collaborating and growing our businesses. So I think that you'd be a much better cultural fit for Real Broker. And if you're focused on your business, and let's say you only put 10% of your time, 20% of your time on revenue share, right? It's not really your top priority, your business is your top priority. I think you're going to make far more money at Real Broker through the revenue share model than you would at eXp. So if you're focused on growing your business, reducing your business expenses, and revenue shares is kind of an extra perk or an extra bonus, then yeah, I think those types of agents would do very well at Real Broker. The next category of agents that I think would be a good fit at Real Broker would be team leaders. As a team leader, you don't want to just look at what your bottom line is, but what are the benefits that you're providing to your individual agents as well, and how are they going to benefit by moving to one company versus another? Earlier I showed that if you sell 20 homes a year, you're going to save about $5,000 a year at Real versus eXp. Now, as a team leader, that may not be very significant, but to your team members, saving a few $1,000s a year could be a pretty big difference to them. And if you have a larger team, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 agents, your combined savings may be $40,000, $50,000 a year at Real Broker than it would at eXp. Another thing to consider is that you can probably help your team build wealth quicker at Real than you would at eXp. Your team members are probably not going to build out 100 agent downlines. If your team member brings in 3, 4, 5 people, that's probably pretty good, and they're simply going to make more money at Real than they would at eXp. At Real Broker, those team members are also going to earn more free stock than they would at eXp. So you are helping them build passive income and build wealth through the stock in the company as well. I think that training is something that you also want to look at as well. The culture of eXp is that people provide their best training only to agents in their downline. Versus at Real Broker, we just have one large community chest and we have these top agents from the company providing excellent training available to everybody as soon as you join the company. So I think you're going to have much better quality of training and more access to training at Real Broker than you would at eXp, really just because of that cultural difference. So after looking over all these factors, I personally chose to move my business over to Real Broker. I thought that I was simply a better cultural fit with Real Broker, and I thought that getting in early on a company that I truly believe in was just a really exciting opportunity. If you're thinking about moving your business over to Real Broker as well, I want you to shoot me an email at malcolm@livinginmaryland.com. We can set up a time for a one-on-one video call, and I can talk to you a bit more about my experience here and see if Real would be a good fit for your business as well. Or if you want to watch some testimonial videos of agents talking about their experiences here at Real, check out this playlist of interviews I have right here. Again, don't forget to email me at malcolm@livinginmaryland.com to set up a one-on-one video call. Thanks so much for watching, and I look forward to hearing from you.